Hey, good evening. It's me, Maria, back with another video. It is 8:14 p.m. It is April 22nd, 2021, Thursday evening, and I am winding down for the evening. And was just kind of listening to some like peaceful music, and just kind of getting my thoughts together. And so, I'm getting off of the subject of gang stalking, but I did want to kind of talk about some issues about that relate to kind of dealing with people having expectations of me or preconceived ideas about me or whatever, just thoughts about me in general. And I have to say that you have to go through life um, based on what is important to you. And that's not, and I think my perps, my former perps, thought that this was a sign of arrogance on my part because I don't seem to pay attention to what they say, meaning like they want me to, they wanted me to, I don't know, I just refuse to have them in part of my reality or my thought process. But their attempts to bully me was, obviously something that was supposed to be oppressive, and it was a form of bullying, and it was a hate crime basically. But anyway, um, I try to live my life in a very simple manner. I'm not, like I said, I never said that I never made any mistakes in my life. Of course I have, but um, as everyone knows, I'm just turned 50 years old, and I think that I live a decent life, and I think that I think what bothers me so much about gang stalking is it poisons the water for any sort of what do you call it, decent sort of human interaction, because you're always wondering, do these people know my perps and blah blah blah, because when you're gang stalked or you experience being gang stalked, you have these people who are trying to collect information about you because they're nosy, oppressive, bullying, or whatever you want to call it. So you're always wondering, I know when I lived in one of my apartments, I had serious, like heavy perp activity and stuff, which made me very uncomfortable because, sometimes they would say things that would make me think, okay, they're kind of fishing. And so, I think what they try to do is they try to make you feel ashamed of things or make you feel uncomfortable or try to compare themselves to you, even though I don't. First of all, most of the people that were involved in this, I don't really know them. Like I said, the people that I knew from high school, I haven't seen them in years, haven't contacted them, but they did make an attempt to try to snub me on Facebook, which a lot of people deal with this issue about, people meeting up with them, in the present moment, people that they knew like in high school or whatever, and then they have issues with who you are now, and for whatever reason, the thing is, I personally think that growing up in um, in my childhood and whatever, because of my bullying siblings, they had created these sort of what do you call it, networks, groups, because they always made an effort to know the people that I knew. So who's to say that these people have had these little relationships, my family and my so-called friends growing up have always had this, hatred towards me or this competitive thing towards me. So I have to look at it that way, like I don't even know these people, because I'm coming to the realization that because of what I've experienced, the negative experience, everything that was involved in this issue was all negative. Okay, this was a hate crime. Okay, whether people looked at it that way or not, but it was some form of bullying of an individual in public. Okay, and putting a systematic form of bullying, okay, is what it was, that my family condoned. Okay, and I'm not trying to bring up the issue of individuals who were brought into this, but what I am trying to bring up is that, when you encounter somebody who maybe because they've always had issues with me. I remember back in school, people in general had issues with me. That was a result of what my family created or whatever. Because I was always the weird one. Like, I had an interest in religion. I didn't do things that most teenage kids did and whatever. So, they try to make you an outsider because they don't understand why you are the way that you are. Okay, and now I think people do understand why I am the way that I am because, and that's just it. I know that when you're somebody who is perceived to have everything, because my family seems to think that I have everything. Now they think that. Now I know that I don't have everything because I go to thrift stores, right? I go to thrift stores. I buy secondhand stuff. I make do with what I have. But everything that this attack said to me, the communication that I was getting from the entire thing is that people were jealous and competitive with me, and they hated and resented me for who I was. And where am I going with this? There's so much that I want to say right now. Um, you, you know, um, when you see a person who wants to live their life in a way that might be different from how were raised, I will say that there is a lot of my family did plant a certain foundation in my growth. Like I love old movies because I started off watching old movies. I like an eclectic variety of music, like a bunch of different kinds of music, because my family listened to all kinds of music. So and plus, as I got older, I even expanded my interests towards things that weren't really something that my family would listen to, period. Like, but still, it's like it gave me the ability to kind of think outside the box, okay? Some people took advantage of that, would take advantage of that, such as myself, and allowed myself to develop into the individual person that I am. And I look at myself as an individualist, meaning like I believe that in my own unique personal views, my own unique personal ways of living, my own ideas. You could say that I'm kind of like a spiritual sage in the modern age or something. I don't know how you would describe me, but this is how I am. This is how I live my life. And believe it or not, by the legal system, I have every right to live my life the way that I want to. So when you, like, for example, when I was back in high school, I was exploring religion, exploring it because I didn't really know what I wanted to do in my life. Did I want to go through religion, maybe a mainstream religion? What was I doing in my life? So, this was stuff that I was pursuing at the time, and this is not cool to most kids, okay? So, you're going to deal with bullying, people laughing at you. Why are you this way? Well, now as an adult, you can see that I have a very spiritual nature. Like my world revolves around this spirituality, and it's been this way since I was a kid. And so this is who I am. So when you see some people resent how other people what they've grown into, like um, and I think my family when they started realizing that no, Maria's not some nerdy weirdo, she's actually somebody who is intelligent, and now they are probably understanding how they have hurt me and abused me all these years. Like they had no, they really thought that I was off or something was wrong with me. And by their behavior and how they showed, and I'm just talking about my blood relations, I'm talking about the people from high school, the people that I knew in my neighborhoods or whatever, because they were mistreating me based off the abuse of my family. I want to say that, of course I'm not going to forgive this, okay? And I'm going to tell you why. I'm not going to forgive this because you have demonstrated something that a lot of people do not want to look at and accept as a reality. And this is the fact that people scapegoat family members. They do it all the time. And because we like to think that families are warm, like I used to watch the Brady Bunch, right? Those little fucking brat kids, right? They got everything. That's the great family, the loving parents, and all this bullshit, right? Well, not every family has that. Not every family is warm and caring. There's some people who resent you just because you came out in the wrong order. Like they were done having kids, so here you roll out, and they're just sick and tired of the shit. So now they're gonna mistreat you, right? So that happens, okay? But we like to sweep that stuff under the rug, and this sort of stuff, right? So now they're thinking, okay, well she's evolved into this person who that they believe, they personally, my family will never come out and say this verbally, but they believe that I'm better than them. They think so, and everything that they did and everything that happened to me proves it, okay? They think this, okay? And they think that by me trying to improve my life, myself improve, adapt new lifestyle habits or whatever, and whatever the things that I incorporate into my life now, they feel as though I've slapped them in the face. I'm not talking about just like my blood relations, but the people that I used to know. Because people resent things that they think are successful, because this is what everybody's trying to obtain. You know, everybody's trying to obtain what they believe is success. I will tell you, I don't look at myself as successful. Okay, I was basically homeless, okay, for a year because these fucktards threw me out of the work environment. So I ended up having to move in with my son. Okay, because by the definition of the welfare office, I qualified for food stamps because my ass was homeless because of these fucking people. Not just my blood relations, I'm talking about the other monsters that did what they did to me. Okay, but what I'm saying is that there are certain things that we need to look at and recognize as evil. Okay, now maybe they're acting like they're repentant now, all the people, and I'm not talking just my blood relations, I'm talking about everybody who got involved in this, okay? Now they're looking at this now and they're saying, oh, they're trying to not, lose public face and not look bad or whatever. But I will tell you, when you create that kind of trauma in a person and you deal with this kind of abuse for such a long period of time, uh, uh, it does affect you. It's just like anybody who's been stalked for a very long period of time or whatever. And then when you come with the realization that these people thought that you were mentally off and had the nerve to always do everything they could to publicly exploit you, to bully you out of your ability to take care of yourself, to provide for yourself, to even establish relationships to where you can have some sort of social support. They made sure that that never happened. So I look at things as a realist, okay? My family didn't love me, never loved me, and never cared about me. That's the reality of it. And there's a bunch of other people who walk this earth who live without love. They do, okay? And so that's the way it is. I accept that, okay? So people will resent you if you evolve in some way that they feel like that you're ahead of them in some way, okay? And yeah, jealousy is a reality of life, okay? But there's laws in place, okay, that are supposed to protect you from hate crimes, okay? Because that's exactly what results when people are jealous of you, competitive of you, or whatever, okay? And I remember some girl kicking up a fuss with me at work. She was one of the perps that were speaking for my family or whoever was involved in this, right? She was basically saying, we were getting this little discussion, and I was telling her, and she did something that I was like, you should have did that, right? And she was like, well, I'm just jealous. And she really thought that that was a reasonable answer. She really thought that she could justify what she did with that. Because in her mind, yeah, I'm jealous, so therefore I'm going to lash out at you and I'm going to do this. No, you cannot do that. There are people who drive cars that are far better than me. Am I supposed to go into a parking lot and start scratching their vehicles because I don't have one of those? Because I'm jealous. Well, I'm jealous. That's not an acceptable excuse, okay? So you deal with people who have, what do you call it? Um, ignorant behavior. Ignorant behavior. They're ignorant. They're also narcissistic. And like I said, I'm not talking about anybody specific, but I'm a victim of narcissistic abuse, okay? Is basically what it is. So my point is, today I made this video. It's called From My Perspective. And from my perspective, I'm thinking about people who have developed into who they are and why we should never be ashamed of being who we are. This is who we are. And sometimes you're not going to fit in with the majority of society. Okay, and that's not being rebellious. Okay, rebellion is when you go against the grains of society, meaning you are breaking a law, you are preventing people from having their human rights and living the way that they choose to. Okay, now I understand certain people have their traditions, they have their beliefs, they have their lifestyles, okay? And sometimes people forget that that's all it is. That's all it is. It's something that you do. This is how you live. This is your perspective. This is what you're comfortable with. But not everyone's like that. And so some people fear that one person who's different is somehow going to either create some sort of uprising or something, or that they're going to throw something off, and they feel competitive because they're not comfortable with change. I'm not trying to change the world into my views. Okay, I realize that the majority of people could not live and function with my views. Okay, I understand that I have a very unique way of seeing things. And I personally believe that this is right for me. And some people are like, oh, and they're going to argue, oh, well, you need to be more like this or this, and you should do this or this. I'm not. If I wanted to do that, that's exactly what I do. I'm not somebody who is so closed-minded that I'm not open to new things. Okay, but I also have a gift in using my ability to discern whether or not something is a wise decision and it's what I consider to be an utter failure. So I'm going to sit here and look at the people who are the true movers and shakers, who are actually doing things who are worthy of admiration because they have accomplished something noteworthy instead of just following a fad and a trend or whatever. These are the things that I respect very little people in this world. Very little. Even certain inventors that, are noted for certain things. And after I do the research, it's like, okay, well, this person actually invented it, but this person ran and got the patent for it or some other bullshit. So there's a lot of people who are getting pats on the back in this world that don't deserve it, which I, experienced firsthand with this gang stalking bullshit, And it really, like, opened my eyes to, like, even more ignorance and evil in this world when I see people that pompous motherfuckers who practice law, who do all this other shit. Oh, I got my fucking, master's degree in like psychology, but you're like completely, abusing a person in public forum. You're participating in gang stalking. You're contributing to human trafficking. This person is traumatized because this family is after them that is like kind of perverted. In the back of my mind, I think it's kind of weird. And they're openly engaging in this sort of terror of a woman, Anyway, I'm getting off the subject. My point is, because you can tell I'm not really over this, okay? Because I'm disturbed by the mentality of what I consider to be ignorant people, okay? But when people evolve, okay, there's a thing that in the spiritual community, and it's called ascension, okay? And I'm not going to go too deeply into ascension, but ascension is kind of like where people become in line with their true spiritual self. Okay, they know who they are. They know why they're here. They know their purpose in life. Okay, they know that certain ideals or whatever is not for them, and they are finding their own path in life, their unique path in life. And this is really what we're here for. Everybody is here for. But the sad part is many people get deviated from what their path is because they get caught up with the group mentality. Okay, and it's really hard to stand up and say, hey, this isn't for me. This isn't for me. Okay, and so when you deal with people who see you maybe either improve your life, evolve, or even use the word as ascend to a certain state of level of being or whatever it is who you are, true love permits and wants what's best for that particular individual. And a lot of times, like, you get these people who become dependent on you. Like, my perps are dependent on me on certain levels. And some people say, well, gosh, your perps hate your guts and everything. Okay, but yeah, I'm basically the center of their social activities. If they didn't have me to gossip about, they would have fucking no one and nothing to say. Okay? I was the fucking center of their lives, okay? Because this is how fucking what a loser crowd these people are, okay? But anyway, we are supposed to be to our highest level of whatever we're supposed to be. So you're dealing with, and sometimes like you'll have a relationship. Maybe that might be a sibling. It could be maybe a parent or whatever, and they're used to seeing you grow up a certain way. Okay, because like for example, okay, like this girl, she grew up on a farm. Okay, and when she gets to be like 18 years old, and while she was living on the farm, okay, her mother thought it was okay. This never happened to me, but I'm just making up this story. Her mother thought it was okay for her to throw all the children in a tub and wash them all together, share the same toothbrush, and use corn cobs to wipe their ass. Okay, I can't think of something else. But basically, is this girl grew up in a state of ignorance. Okay, she didn't know that it was not sanitary to do those sort of things. Okay, because it never came across her mind. Okay, so now she has the opportunity. Maybe she goes away to school. Maybe she joins some sort of like group where they bring enlightenment and they encourage her to open up her mind a little bit. Whatever it is, she comes to a certain understanding that her old way of life was not good. Okay, so then, like for example, her mom comes right to visit this girl, right? And now she comes to her house and she sees that she's got a bathtub installed in her bathroom. She's got, her house separated in a certain way, and she's even raising her children, to have separate things for their own, separate washcloths or whatever. So then her mom is thinking, rolling her eyes like, well, who do you think you are? And this is the attitude that a lot of people have when you have changed or you have moved on to certain aspects that are better for you in your life. And this is the kind of shit that they say, and this is the kind of shit that they do. Oh, who do you think you are? Oh, you're forgetting where you came from, blah, 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 blah. Okay, and I'm going to tell you something. This is who I have always been, and I have always gravitated I have always gravitated towards this sort of lifestyle. What happened when I was growing up is there was a lot of bullying in place, there was a lot of ridicule in place, there was a lot of deviating, pushing me away from my goals and everything else because they had a lot of control over me. So as I got older, I realized, okay, when I'm 18 years old, I'm out the door and I can do whatever I want to do. I'm like, I can do and live my life however I want to. And this is what I choose to do. You know what I mean? And I don't think I'm a bad person. You know what I mean? Because some people think, well, you should be married and all this other stuff. Okay, I'm going to tell you right now, I don't give a flying fuck about marriage. Okay, and I know that people say, well, and I'm sorry. I'm going to tell you right now, in my life, and in my view, in my spiritual life, I believe that it's important, I'm going to say it's essential, okay, to incorporate as much as, what do you call it? How can I say this? Self adornment. Yeah, I do. I believe that it's important to dress well. Okay, that's how I feel. Okay, and there's certain times where I'm at home, where I'm not even going anywhere. It's the way it makes you feel. Okay, it makes me feel good to put on something new. Not necessarily new, but how about something colorful or something that relates to the way that I feel or is expressing an emotion or whatever. Clothes are deep for me. Okay, they're not just garments that cover my body or protects you from the elements. For me, clothes to me are, in my mind, kind of a spiritual thing as well. And I do. It's my passion. So they think, well, I'm going to take her, she's going to change her life and be like, I have no interest in living like the majority. And so they try to say, well, I'm going to prevent you. You can do that if you want to. Okay. And like I said, I'm willing to die for what I believe. Because I would rather die than live in a manner that is not conducive to my well-being. And that's not conducive to my well-being. And I will tell you, anybody who loves you, truly loves you, will allow you to ascend. And most people don't allow the people that they're in relationships to ascend without ridiculing them, trying to beat them down. Because the reality of spiritual growth is that it does leave people behind. But the people that I have left behind deserve to be left behind. Okay, they deserve to be left behind, meaning they deserve to not be looked at, spoken of, remembered, honored, respected, whatever. You don't. Okay, and that's the reality. And if you don't understand why, I can't tell you, you robbed me of a lifetime. Okay, you robbed me a life. Okay, and of course, that's how I feel. Okay, so from my perspective, our individual selves should not be suppressed. Now, there are some people who want to live traditionally, and if that's your thing, you have every right to. I'm not trying to cause a revolution. I'm not trying to tell people, oh, you need to stop being married and stop doing this. No, this marriage is not conducive to my well-being for several reasons. Okay, which I've stated before in my videos. And number two, I really don't have a desire to cook, clean, prepare, make a home for someone else. And I personally don't want to do that. And some people will say, well, if I wanted a sex life, I would go out and have a sex life. Okay, I'm a person who believes in going after what they want. And that's one thing I'm sure my perps realize that I'm a kind of person that pursues it. And they always made sure that shit never happened. Because they're evil motherfuckers, that's why. So, anyway, what else did I want to say? I wanted to talk about, let me look over here. I had to write things down. Yeah, I talked about why I think it's important to dress well. I do. I think it's important to dress well. Okay, dressing well is not for the opposite sex. It is for my emotional and spiritual well-being. Yes, it is. And I remember when I was younger, my mom used to say, Marie, you're sitting here looking in the mirror all the time. And I would be twirling around. If I got a new dress, I'm twirling around in front of it. I want to see it twirl. I want to see the color. I want to see me in it. I love it. It feels good. Color is important, okay? And I will talk about color therapy in maybe another video, but color feels good. Coordination feels good. Those sort of things are good. And some people do it for the pleasure of the opposite sex. I do it for my own pleasure. I enjoy looking at myself in the mirror with my new clothes on or whatever, or accessorizing, and I can do that for hours. And I'll say there's been times where I have, okay, because it's something that brings me joy, and that's what it is, okay. I will tell you though that if it was for the opposite sex, if I was doing anything for the opposite sex, I would up it up a little bit. You know what I mean? I would, I would, because people tell me that I have a great pair of legs, and I would be showing my legs. Okay, I would be. I mean, I'm just talking about more than what I have shown my legs. I would be doing everything I could to get myself a man. Okay, but it's not important to me. It really isn't. You know what I mean? And another thing I'd like to say is that I know people talk about this all the time. Oh, you're going to regret this. What people want me to do is they want me to have a sexual relationship, okay? And I'm sorry, but I don't. Love is very rare, as you can see, okay? People are abusive. People are crazy, okay? Crazy is not that uncommon. People think, oh, that one. Just crazy is like a few sprinkles here, maybe this odd bird over there. No, crazy is common. Okay, it's common. What happened to me in this community alone proves it. If people are honestly going to think that this is normal for a man to be married to a coworker of a woman of color, and that he has some sort of control over her, she's trying to get away from a family that practices incest, and she's not comfortable. Just the whole story, and people believe it. People are either more dumb than you think that they are. People are more gullible than than we think they are. People are more ignorant than we think they are, and they're more evil than you think they are. There's all kinds of garbage out there. Okay, all kinds of garbage out there, and I'm not interested in that. Okay, especially after you've been getting stuff, you really have to be careful about who you get close to, because there's a lot of people out there who are taking interest in you for the wrong reasons. Okay, no, I don't have over sexual desires for me, because when you have been fighting for your life for like all your life, this is pretty much what I think about all the time. You know what I mean? And if I did want sex, I would go out and get it. Okay, mind your own business, please. I don't appreciate it. I don't like the fact that people put so much emphasis on what I do, that I have a right to do or not to do. You know what I mean? My life isn't really about that. I have a very spiritual life. And I know that some people think that I'm going to miss out. You're going to miss out on this. You're going to miss out. If, like I said, if it was out there, if I wanted it, I would go out there and I would pursue it 100%. I would. I would go out and pursue it. And I wouldn't waste any time doing it. In the most feminine way, of course. I wouldn't want to like just come on to a guy and totally vamp him or something. But if I wanted to do that, I would, do it the most feminine way that I possibly could to get it across, that I was interested. I have no interest in that right now, and I probably never really will. You know what I mean? Right now, I'm dealing with a lot of, thoughts about ways of living, and thinking about the errors that have occurred, why I classify people in the way that I do, and I feel like I'm justified. in classifying people the way that I do and how I see things. And we see things from our perspective. You know what I mean? Some people who grew up in a family that was lucky enough to resemble, and I'm not talking about physically resemble the Brady Bunch, but like have the same attributes as the Brady Bunch. If you were lucky enough to have this warm family where, there was always like this warmth and love and acceptance there. You got together, you had pillowcase races in the backyard and shit like that. If you were lucky to have a family like that, and there are some people who are like that, okay? And I've known a lot of Mormon families, particularly, that are like that. Anyway, if you were lucky enough to have something like that, that's great. And so you're going to have a different perspective of the world. You know what I mean? But I am a realist, okay? I have been treated like dirt and garbage for a long time for a reason that to me is even more shocking, that somebody thought that I was not mentally all there, and so therefore that was justification of them basically dragging me around and treating me like garbage and encouraging other people to do it as well. That's very sick. And yeah, and see, other people probably it never even occurred to them that that's the way it is. But yeah, fucking that's the way it is. That's the way it is. Okay. So no, yeah, my life is different. It is very different, and so what I really want to do is like, I like hanging out with females. No, I'm not a dyke, and quit talking about me being a dyke, because I'm not, okay? But I do like being around women because women are highly intuitive. And yes, I do believe in our strength and our mind power, okay? And so, you want to meet females, and I want to meet females who are like different, okay? Unique people. And this is what all I've ever wanted to do, but I've always been stuck in this little bubble of like perp world. Because they put you around their people and blah 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 and la 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 la, so on and so on and so forth, right? It's always that, and it becomes like, gosh, this is overwhelming. I would really prefer to seek out, when it comes to friends, okay? When it comes to friends, right? And some of the people that I've met in the past, they've seemed a little too eager to be my friend, so it's just like, I don't trust you. It's sad, but that's just the way it is. Because I don't want to have people who, if you have a double agent friend, they're not going to know any loyalty. That doesn't have that's not a concept that they're gonna grasp, okay? Because they find everything that you say, they'll use it. They'll like people come over to my house, right? And yeah, I have my little stuffed animals on the bed. Yes, I'm 50 years old. No, it is not a sign of mental illness. No, it's not. There's nothing wrong with liking what's cute. I fully understand how old I am. Okay, there's a lot of women who have Garfield collections, Snoopy, whatever. I don't believe that. Um, where was I going with this? Let me stay on this subject. I want to say that what I resent is that you come into contact with people, and then they are, they want to know things about you just so they could go back to the other person and talk about it. And so they can just be like, oh, she's still sewing, or she's still, yes, I have a right to do those things. You know what I mean? And it's really shitty that somebody wanted to throw me in a genocide program, and that people thought it was okay to do that over stuff like my sewing, my clothes, or whatever. But now that I realize that this weird chick at Murray Family Farms or whatever was involved in it, and the sickness and all of that shit, and the jealousy shit, it makes sense, but still it's twisted as hell. And still you wonder, how is it that people didn't wake up and they allowed this to happen? You know what I mean? I have zero faith in mankind. You know what I mean? I don't believe in their ability to recognize what's right and what's wrong. I don't have any faith in them when it comes to how to do their goddamn job. You know what I mean? Or do they even understand the definition of human trafficking is? Do they understand the urgency of a woman who is being abused? Domestic stalking. And it's so funny because, like, there was this employment agency that I went to while these people were, like, doing their little genocidal bullshit. I went to this, like, employment agency, And they were, they like showing me these required forms, and they were talking about, domestic stalking in this little brochure and stuff like that. And this is the thing that really bothers me, and it's the same goddamn thing with the sexual harassment thing. Okay, they do not know what they're talking about. They do not recognize it when they see it. And I know that some people think, well, it's just gossip. It's not that big of a deal. I understand what you're saying, but this is the trickle down effect of your irresponsible fucking behavior. This is it. And yeah, I drop the F bomb a lot in my personal life because I don't claim to be perfect, okay? But one thing I don't do is I don't screw my kids, okay? So anyway, and that's another issue. I think that, I know, and I don't want to ever offend anyone, okay? But here's the reality of it. And I'm just going to say it because I don't care. Really, I don't. Um, when I first moved to this community, I remember being warned about what goes on here in Bakersfield. Like, I know that there was some white people, okay, who warned me about the things that go on in this community, okay? Like, they talked about how there was racism enacted and stuff like that, and that they were ignorant, a lot of ignorance, like kind of like comparing it to the ignorance of um, like the Ozarks or something. Some of that stuff kind of goes on, and I didn't know if it was a stereotype or was it what. And I really didn't think too deeply of it. I just kind of thought, okay, whatever. And really, because this community is so close to where I grew up, I really didn't see how it could be that much different. Okay, but anyway, so I came down here, and I will say that this would have never happened if there was not an element of truth to what these people were telling me. Okay? It would not have happened if there was not an element of truth of what these people warned me about before I even came to this town. That doesn't mean that I'm raising hell. I'm just telling you the truth. Tell me I'm wrong. It's really hard not to, especially when all this shit got played out right in front of our fucking face. Okay? So, yeah, and I am. I'm the kind of person that can stand tall and speak when I know I'm telling the truth in a crowd. I might be the only person who is speaking the truth, and I might be persecuted for speaking the truth. But I will tell you what, Maria's going to speak the truth. Okay, I have a very high level of buying power, and I don't. It's not that I don't value other humans because I do respect their right to live, but I also understand that people are just people. And I understand that the core of most people, sad to say, is evil. And this is a very deep subject that I'm constantly going over in my mind, and it's quite fascinating, really. It is quite fascinating. So I spent a lot of time thinking about, this, and then the deeper meaning behind it, because it does talk a lot about the issue of family scapegoating, the reality of it. It talks about the issue. I mean, if you were to summarize this, and like if we had a college professor that was talking about this many years later, about this subject, there's a lot of eye-opening issues in it. Okay, we deny that racism exists. Tell me that it doesn't after this shit happens. Okay, tell me that women have rights and that they are able to stand up on their feet, and that the majority of these women who are probably ending up in shelters is not a result of something similar to what's going on right here. That a man could easily uh, dominate and abuse a woman in open form and have a community help them do it, okay, um, if that shit wasn't true. You see what I'm saying? So, um, yeah, this is evil. And yeah, racism does exist. And yes, sexism does exist. And yes, there is a glass ceiling in this world. And yes, there's all kinds of human trafficking that goes on. And that, yes, there is a lot of blindness to incest, and people are willing to basically rape another person and force them into something that they don't want to do on a very strong level, like a very high level, like a corporate level, that people would be willing to do something like this. Okay, so sexual harassment is big, and people aren't. smart enough to recognize. Like, we live in this world that, to me, I perceive as really stupid, like really stupid, and I feel like I have to be careful because people are very dangerous to deal with. You know what I mean? And so anyway, when I think about it, it blows my mind that people don't see what they're doing. You know, and no, I'm not. I'm a very peaceful person. I don't try to push my views on people. And I think that's what pissed me off so bad about it. I was literally minding my own business, and this shit happened to me. Like, it would be different, like, if I was like, you know, hanging out on street corners trying to prophesize and like convert people to Mariaism. You know, hey, let me show you the way of Mariaism, or I was trying to, like, you know, convert people and whatever. Okay, but still, even if I did do that, I would have every right to. But at the same time, I didn't. I'm just somebody who lives, you know, their life. But I will tell you, my ex-husband and his family probably had an issue with that. Okay, and well, it's over. You know, I got divorced, and then it was just the whole thing to me is weird. It is very, very, very weird. And I am still not quite over that. And I probably will never be over that. The trauma of dealing with what I dealt with, because it was um, it's shocking. It shocked me that this sort of reality exists. I mean, I know that the world is corrupt, but the amount of corruption that I witnessed and experienced, it's just like, seriously, I could write a book about it. I actually, somebody should act, and I know, I've heard, like, I call them drama queens when people talk about their life, and really, I've always rolled my eyes, and I'm kind of rolling my eyes about this too, because everybody seems to think that their life is so interesting that it should be on a piece of paper or in a film or something. Okay, maybe not. But I will say that this could be a good, interesting thing to talk about for lessons and debates, because of what these people tried so hard to prove that they were superior, ended up proving over and over and over again that they only are superior because they use bullying tactics to be so. And this is not me bashing white people, because I don't, okay? I obviously have nothing against white people. I'm talking about white people with the sort of mentality that do this sort of shit. You know, that want to win, that want to sit here and try to inflict harm on other people or people of color or whoever, because they feel like they have this superiority to do so. Okay, you are not superior. Okay, you are not a man of great honor or anything. You are a white person. That means that that's all you are. You have accomplished nothing. There are white men who have accomplished all kinds of things, and they are truly great men. Like, they're innovators, you know what I mean? They're creators. They move things forward, you know what I mean? They're forward-thinking people. They do all kinds of great things, whether there's philosophy, writing, intellect, composing music, whatever. Okay, there's great people that I respect. But just because you're white doesn't mean you are anybody. Okay, and so, and I know that the tactics that were used on me were tactics that were actually created by the Ku Klux Klan. So, you know, you never know who you meet and who you're rubbing elbows with and who you're talking to. So it's eye-opening to me. Okay, so it is very eye-opening to me. And if people didn't see the deeper meaning in this story, well, I hopefully now you do. Okay, but anyway, back to the ascension thing. For my opinion, people should ascend to their highest level of where they're supposed to be. There are children who are growing up right now who have a great passion for music, and their parents are putting them in a direction that they're not supposed to go. And sometimes they might bully them, and they might have, you know, peers that are bullying them or whatever. And it's sad, because we should live our authentic life, whatever that might be, whatever that might be, you know. And to suppress that, especially when you suppress that for people who do not care for you. I will tell you right now, anybody who cares for you will not prevent you from moving on to your highest self. They want that for you. Whatever, even if it means that you have they distance themselves from you a little bit in order for you to obtain where you need to be. And it does sometimes. Ascension can actually hurt some people. Let's just take, for example, you're improving your life, right? And sometimes you have to leave people behind because they don't see things the way that you do anymore. And it's not that you can't, you're willing to still be friends, but they're not comfortable with how you see things, your views, your taste, your likes, your the way that your viewpoints are, and they feel excluded. Well, you can't change the way that you see, experience, and live your life just to make somebody happy. And when you do, you are selling yourself short, and somebody's going to be miserable in that relationship. Okay, and there's always going to be an even balance, and no, you cannot strike a balance sometimes, and sometimes it's just time to move on. I believe that. Not all relationships are permanent. Very few relationships, and to me, from my perspective, that's the name of this video, are long term, forever, for the rest of your life. Okay? And so for me, this is how I live my life. Is it for everybody? No, it's not. But you know what? It's for me. You know what I mean? And so I have to think about what's best for me, not for for anyone else. And I don't care if I'm 50 years old. I know exactly how old I am. You know what I mean? I know right from wrong. Okay, I do. And to me, that's the most important thing that you can know as an adult, to know right from wrong. Is it because most women my age are married? Is that what it is? You know what I mean? Well, just because most women my age are married doesn't mean that I should go out and get married. Because I could easily end up with the wrong person because I got married for the wrong reasons. You know what I mean? And I know some people want to merge. I look, money really isn't that important to me. I have a very humble life. I'm really not much materialistic. But I will tell you, I don't have anything against people who are. You know what I mean? We have to go through, and in my life, for some people, riches, fame, fortune, this is what they're supposed to do. They're following out their dream, and there's nothing wrong with that. As a matter of fact, I have a philosophy on that altogether, which I will share in one of my videos about why we should prevent the next generation of toil. Okay, and it's actually kind of interesting. And I've been playing around with that, but I've been feeling so much anger about this whole gang stalking issue that I really haven't been able to formulate better projects. I'm so not over this, but anyway. But yeah, my thing is spirituality. I'm into the paranormal. I think that bothers a lot of people. For people who like might be of a certain religion, that might make them uncomfortable. Well, you know what, and that's okay. You don't have to be my very best friend, but I will tell you, I will respect you. I will never harm you. I will never prevent you from living your life. I will never gang stalk you. I will never try to exclude you in any way or tell other people that you are not to be accepted, liked, whatever, because you are the way that you are. And let's just agree to not create problems for each other. Is that possible? It is not possible unless, of course, you're some fucking heathen, or you want to create a hate crime, right? But I'm not. I don't believe that. Like I said, I don't believe that my lifestyle would ever catch on to the majority, and I don't really. I'm not trying to make it. I'm just trying to live my life, you know, based on the issues that occurred in my life, and this is what life gave me. You know what I mean? And so, in some ways, I'm actually in a very good spot. You know what I mean? Because I understand, you know, people very well. I do. I understand them very well, and so, I know not to involve myself with people just willy nilly. You know what I mean? So anyway, yeah. So anyway, from my perspective, we should and we should do the best we can to live our lives completely. What it is that you want. What did you ever think about, like, what did I get diverted from? Like, when you were younger, what was thrown in your way? Or what did somebody throw in your way and try to force it on you as an obligation when you had no reason to feel obligated to satisfy their needs and demands. Think about the selfish people that came into your life and pushed all the shit that you had in your brain out of your reach. Okay? And I think, the older that we get, we may not be able to have the time to go after all of it. That's reality, and it's sad, okay, that somebody came in and just tossed your life up and just didn't care. They had no regard for you whatsoever, okay? So what are you going to do about it now? And I'm sorry, just because I'm 50 years old doesn't mean that my life has ended, or that I'm supposed to sit here and join a knitting circle, or that I'm going to subscribe to like ARP magazine, or that I'm going to sit here and buy clothes from Blair catalog or whatever. Some other fucking, I'm almost like, a senior citizen with one foot in the grave mentality. Fuck that shit. That's not for me. Okay? And that's not saying that I feel like I'm young either. I know how old I am. Okay? But the reality of it is that I'm a woman who has time on her hands. You know what I mean? And so what I choose to do is focus on spirituality. And yes, clothes are part of my spirituality. Color is a part of my spirituality. You know what I mean? And these are the things that I'm going after. So I believe that what it is, and for the people who watch my videos, okay, what you want in life, only you know that. Like, only you know what you want in life. Only you know what somebody took away from you. Maybe you wanted to, I don't know, maybe you wanted to be a drummer, and maybe you were really good, but maybe when you were younger, somebody's like, well, I think you should, work in the station like your dad did, and so you did that, and so now you haven't picked up drums in, like, I don't know, 20 years, and like, why don't you go out and get your drums? Like, get into life, why sit and think about bullshit, and this is what I'm trying to do. And if that's a crime, then you're fucking retarded, is basically, that is basically how that is, you know what I mean? And yeah, that's from my perspective, because it's reality. You know what I mean? It's like, obviously this was done because somebody hated me. You know what I mean? And there was a lot of people who, and I will tell you how bloodthirsty the average human being is. People are evil. They are very evil. And I don't buy into the religious crap, because a lot of times, me and my son were talking about virtue signaling. I think a lot of that religious talk is a form of virtue signaling. But really, I'm never impressed with that. As a matter of fact, when people start bringing that shit up out of the blue, I want to get the hell away from them, because it's like, what do you got to hide, man? What are you trying to hide? Are you trying to act like you're some nice guy? Because really, you're probably some weird pervert who does all kinds of weird, kind of, unorthodox things, So anyway, I just wanted to make this video really quick, and sorry it's not organized in any manner, but I just wanted to really talk and get some stuff out of my mind that have been floating around, and and just really, I hope that people, I know that people are going to judge me, and I'm not going to try to make people accept me. I will never try to do that. But I will not let people cast blame on me, point the finger, make me suffer an injustice, meaning like I'm going to carry the burden of some bullshit that somebody else did because of their own emotional instability. Okay? So I also wanted to talk about, just really quick. I was thinking about chance versus choice, like it was just by chance that I was raised in an abusive family. But as an adult, I have a choice. I can choose who I consider family. There are some people, and they are rare, just like any other form of love, or caring or friendships or whatever. There are some people who meet other people in the world and they become close, like they become family. You know what I mean? And as an adult who knows how to make good choices, and I do. I know how to make good choices, okay? And I got thrown out of my path, my rightful path, okay, the path that was right for me, my life's path, growing up or whatever, many times because of this intrusion, okay? But I know that I would make good choices in finding the right people to bring into my life. And they are rare. I'm going to tell you that right now. They are very rare. Okay. But I have a choice. I could choose to be friends with phony people, or I can choose to be friends with the rare and the sincere people. And I choose to make better choices. And I appreciate the fact and completely understand the fact that most people are two-faced, do stab you in the back, are not loyal. And I understand that. I fully understand that. So I make sure that I refer to these sort of people as acquaintances, which you have to, deal with them sometimes. You might deal with a neighbor, you might deal with a bank teller or whatever. They might be friends, best friends with basically people who had the intent of committing murder, and they probably helped them in a lot of ways. That's how I look at it, okay? And that's how I see these people. Because I will tell you, when you understand what this is and what these people did and their hatred behind it, this is how I see the world now. Because this is what these people are. Okay, they basically are, people who should be guilty of attempted murder, and that's how I see them. I don't see them any other way, and that's not just from my perspective. That's how basically the law defines it. So um, I don't want to meet the wrong people. I want to make better choices, And the sad part is like when you're gang stalked, people, the wrong people want to come into your life. They want to come into your life. You know what I mean? And in order to have a peaceful life, you got to get over the perps. You know what I mean? So I want to, you know, live my life, but make sure that I create the right bonds. You know what I mean? The right kind of bonds of friendships instead of being led astray and somehow inadvertently letting these people into my life. Because let's just say, for example, I had my own little apartment, and there was a girl who was living next door, and then, we started talking, and then, and come to find out she's friends with these particular people, and it's like, you're gonna be like, oh my gosh, and then that everything that you've talked and shared, it's just not a good thing. Not that I do anything wrong, but like I said, these people were holding things against me, like having stuffed animals on your bed, and the kind of rage that in their mind that justifies that kind of rage, like they think that they can throw you out of employment and basically kill you or make you want to kill yourself because you aren't complying with their bullshit. That's like that's crazy. I don't want that shit in my life. I don't want that garbage. I don't need that terrorism. Yeah, that's what it is. And that's exactly what it is. It's terrorism. So anyway, I'm gonna wrap up this video. It's been a while since I made a video, but I'm kind of glad that I did. I think the next video I'm gonna write out everything and just have like written words, on my video, and just do a PowerPoint presentation. This particular video I did for today, I didn't put a lot of thought into the picture, but I did like the background, the color. I do like lavender right now. Lavender is a really good color. I don't wear lavender, but I like lavender objects right now. It's kind of what I'm into right now. But anyway, wrapping up this video. Be back with another video sometime later. Take care. Bye-bye.